how do we actually assess ankle mobility so we can have deeper squats, right? So the first step is just to visualize your athlete squatting from the side, right? So have your athlete do overhead squat, front squat, body weight squat, whatever squat you want, okay? And then you just look at the ankle and see how much you feel like it's bending, right? Take a look at the torso ankle. Are they really severely pitching forward, right? And if they're not in the position you want them to be in, then you try to cue them to get into the position. So if I have an athlete like I have in the image here who's severely bent over, right? Looks like she's not bending at the ankles whatsoever. I'm going to say, hey, bring your knees forward. Sink a little deeper to that squat by bringing the knees forward, right? Reach your knees towards my hands. Maybe I'll put my hands in front of her knees. I'm trying to get her to use all of her ankle dorsiflexion range of motion. And if that cleans up the motion, then they probably aren't stiff within the joint because they just show me they're able to move through that joint. But if they are not able to move through that joint, even with cueing, it still looks pretty bad. The next step is actually assessing the joint for mobility, right? So the assessment is actually quite easy. I do a wall ankle dorsiflexion assessment. So I have a video for this you can check out. I'll put that up there for you to click later. But you go into half kneeling, right? And you set your toe about 4 inches away from the wall. For folks that are really, really tall, they probably need to get a little closer to 5 inches. For folks that are a little bit shorter, I think 4 inches will suffice. The heel stays flat the entire time. You want to make sure that your arch is maintained, right? Like I said before, if we're lacking ankle dorsiflexion, when I go to end range of motion, I'll compensate by flattening out my arch. I don't want to do that, okay? If you touch the wall by flattening out that arch and toeing out, that's not a pass. That's a fail, all right? So you set yourself up about 4 to 5 inches from the wall, 5 inches for tall folks, 4 inches for short folks, and then you drive your knee over your second toe and see if you can touch the knee to the wall. Now, if you can, that's a pass. If you can't, it means you're probably a little stiff and you're going to benefit from adding a little extra ankle mobility, right? So first, I really want to say, before we go over some ankle mobilizations for you to try, that you really can't skip this step, right? And, the story I hear all the time for folks is they come up to me and they say, my ankles are super stiff. I need to get my ankles more mobile. I've tried every single mobilization and I've never made any improvement, right? So I'm like, oh, wow, that stinks. Let's troubleshoot this a little bit. Why is this happening? And I'll ask them like, hey, did you assess your ankle range of motion, before you started doing the mobility drills? And they're like, oh, well, no, I never thought about that, and I don't think most people do think about that. It's not intuitive. But here's the thing. If someone's asking you, to lose weight, right, and you tell them, oh, you got to diet, and they go home and they do a diet and they come back 4 weeks later and they're like, hey, it didn't work, right? You would say like, well, did you weigh yourself at the start? And they may say, no, I never weighed myself. It's like, well, how do you expect to know if you got any better or worse, right? So ankle dorsiflexion is no different. You have to first assess your range of motion, and then you have to try a mobility program for at least about 4 weeks, and then assess again. And then you'll actually see if you're making progress or not, right? And the thing is, if you're not making progress, you just change up the program. It's the same as someone who tries a diet that doesn't work. It's maybe not that dieting is not working for you. Maybe you need to change your diet up a little bit, right? And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's what I want you to do next. If you want to learn more about how to get your patients out of pain and back in the gym where they belong, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. I've created an entire mini course on this. It's completely free. I have the link in the bio/show notes, so go ahead and click that link and get started. Thanks again, guys.